Awesome. Okay, you guys, welcome Diamond Hive, right? We're back here for our Hive Huddle on Wednesday, and I am so excited, you guys, tonight to have Brittany on with us. Brittany is one of our ambassador diamonds. She is like almost in the double digits with It Works too. So she's one of our like OGs. We were talking about it. We are like, we have been through a lot of seasons in this business, lots of ebbs and flows. You learn to pivot, you learn to change your route, change your ways. But I just think it's so important. You guys, we talk about vision all the time, but I think it's so important to be able to hear from people who have been here. They've been here for the seasons, they've been here for momentum, they've been through people quitting, like they've been through all of those things. Because what I want you to know is those are some of the things that we can't control. But if you focus on the things that you can, this business still brings some of the biggest blessings that like you could ever imagine. So, Brittany, we're just gonna jump right in. And so, will you just share a little bit about your story with them? And don't like think you're on a time crunch or anything. You guys, it's really hard when somebody's like, "Hey, can you share your story?" To like put in 9 or 12 years. I'm really old, so 12 years into like a little snippet. I'm like, no, that ain't happening. Like, so we want to know the whole spiel. Okay, so you go ahead and share with us.
Okay. Hi guys. My name is Brittany Cromwell, and like I said, ambassador. I've been doing this since 2015. But I want to know who we have on here right now. I want to see, just go ahead and put in the chat how long you have been in the business. 'Cause I want to see who is new, who is old, all the things. Let me tell you, it's been crazy for me because I am somebody who never knew what they wanted to do with their life. I went to college just because I felt like I had to, and I never really knew like what my purpose was. So I went into like the basics, the business stuff, because I guess I knew without knowing I wanted to do something business related. I didn't even think like I'll be a business owner one day. I was just like, I'll use that for something, right? And so once I got into college, I realized I hated it. I was more of the social party life kind of girl, and I hated work. And I was also called like kind of dumb and had this idea in my head that I was dumb. And so that limiting belief, I feel like held me back from a lot of things that I could have done during school. But I realized at some point that I wasn't dumb. I just wasn't interested in it. And I have this thing where if I'm not interested, it goes in one ear and out the other. I can't even remember it. Like it's just, I don't know, diagnose me with something, please, because I don't know what it is. But it's been an issue for my life. My daughter has it too. It's like selective memory or something, but she can tell you every animal and every fact about, dinosaurs and things like that. So I dropped out, and it was a really hard thing. My parents didn't take it lightly, and I was like, I'll go back to 4 year college. I'll go back. Like I was in community college. Okay. It's no big deal. I'll go to a 4 year college once we move. My parents were in the middle of a divorce, and that's when I moved from North Carolina to South Carolina. And I moved there and I fell in love. And instead, like after a year of dating, I did the one thing I always wanted to do that I knew, and that was become a mom. So I intentionally got pregnant at 19 and we were so in love, and I'm still with him here like so many years later. And that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to become a mom. And so I moved out, and I quickly found myself on Medicaid, government assistance. I was living paycheck to paycheck, working several jobs because we were like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much the bills were going to be, how much rent was going to be, all of that. And so I found myself working, putting her in daycare, missing a lot of firsts, and we were stressed. We were constantly fighting. We were not happy. We had a lot of downs in our relationship in the beginning, and it was all over money. And I remember going to work and hating what I did, knowing I was meant for more. But once again, God didn't want to reveal to me what that thing was until I picked my daughter up from daycare and I missed some of her first words. And that was when I had like a real eye opening moment like, okay, I need to go all in. I need to change my life. And so I found a girl. I kind of skipped over this part. I found a girl on social media. We reconnected that I went to high school with, but we didn't really like each other. We were totally separate friend groups, but we were both the only two out of our entire high school that had kids this young, both girls, same age. And so we connected in that way. And she was doing It Works, and I was her second distributor. Okay. And I started because I wanted to buy the wraps and I couldn't afford them. And I think that was enough for me to get upset. And my whole life, my parents never really gave me what I really wanted. They were very cheap, very like, you got to work for it kind of mentality. And I hated it, but I'm glad because I guess it made me who I am today, money hungry and just very like over things. And okay, I guess I got to work for it. Right. And that's where I feel like I get a lot of my work effort and why I went ambassador is because they don't take no for an answer because I was told no my whole life. And I feel like you could look at that both ways. You can look at that as, well, I've never really gotten what I want, so I'm going to continue to never get what I want. Or you can say, I never got what I want, but now I have the wheel that I can take a hold of and start steering and go towards what I want and get what I want. I can get what I want. And that was my mindset through the whole thing. And that's why it took me 2 days to be able to join. And I didn't have the extra money for the wraps, but you know what? I did have the money to start a business because it's all about what you see value in. And so I was like, well, I can make money with this. I don't know how, but I can figure it out. And so did I have doubts? Was I scared? Was I worried? Yeah, I had a lot of things that I was like, I don't know, worried, what if, but the pain of being broke was enough for me to say, I'm in. And so I started and I was so excited. And I signed my first customer 7 days in. And then I signed all four of my last like 3 days in the business of my 30 days in the business. And so I earned my product credit. I was on top of the world, all the things, right? And so I got my first paycheck. It was $99. Then next month it doubled. Then it kept growing. And then I stayed at this period of $300 to $400 a month as an executive, signed a team member once a month. Like I was not very fast. I was, you know, I feel like very green in the beginning. I was trying to learn everything. And here's what looking back now, I understand I was working my business, but I wasn't working it with intention to go somewhere. And there's a complete difference of working and giving yourself a pat on the back because you did your work today and maybe you signed a couple customers. But for me, it wasn't until I picked Addie up from daycare. I told you all I skipped way far ahead there. I picked Addie up from daycare, Adeline, my beautiful baby, and I missed some of her first words and I cried the entire way home. The feeling of defeat and anger and frustration for my job and knowing I'm paying somebody else to watch my kid was enough for me to say, you know what? If I can hear everybody on stage, if I can hear all these people on the Show Me the Money call, all these people on, the Facebook pages kicking butt in this business and making enough to where they can bring their spouses home, like I can do this. And so I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I showed up to work the next day. I printed out a ruby, an emerald, and a diamond chart, stapled it, and it wasn't I'm gonna try, or it'd be nice if I go, or I'm going to do my best to hit it. If you find yourself saying those words, nope, you're not serious enough about this. You don't believe in yourself enough. You got to work on the inside. It was a plan. It was a plan. And I had such confidence knowing that I'm no different than these other ladies that I was ready to put in the work and just show up and do the thing. Like I already felt like a diamond. Are you kidding me? Like I started to get to work so hard after that incident that I felt like a diamond inside. And I truly believe that's why I promoted so quickly, because you can't promote to a rank until you're doing the things that that rank does. But the thing is, you can't wait for the feeling to feel like you're ready to work to start doing the work. So sometimes you have to do this work blindly. You have to do it when you don't feel confident. You have to do it when you're not sure how the heck you're going to promote. But just knowing that with God, anything is possible with hard work and the right mindset, it will happen, because it happened to Jen, it happened to Sarah. Like, who else is diamond and above? Who else is ambassador? Like, it happened for them. There's no difference between the two besides confidence and plan and action. And I just know that when I put my all into it, it was going to happen. And so if you don't feel that way right now, you gotta, number one, like tell yourself what happens next doesn't have to look like what happened. So whatever happened in your past with It Works, you get to rewrite your story. You are the author of your life. You and God alone. You get to write the story together. There's nothing and nobody else that can tell you how it's going to go besides, well, not all the time, but with this business, you get to decide where you're going, right? Sometimes things happen in our life that we can't control. But with this business, no matter what happens in your life, you are in control. If you can
Record.
sign one customer, you can sign 50. If you can sign one Ruby and help someone go Ruby, you can build 5 more next month. There's no difference. And so what I did was I put my head down and I got to work, and I was not prepared to promote at all. But I started working nonstop. And if I found a problem, I found a solution. If I was unsure of why something wasn't working, I didn't sit on it and blame myself. I found out how to fix it. I looked up and copied the right person, the people that were at the top, and I compared it to my work. I compared their page to my, that's all I needed. And I watched a video that changed my business, and it was by Eric Worre. He's a network marketing guru guy. And it's how to enroll 20 people in 30 days. Because when I looked down at my chart, I needed 17 working distributors. And I just remember putting 17 at the top of the page and circling it. And I watched that video and I was like, all right, I'm going all in. And that's what I did. And that was the month that I went Ruby and Emeralds. And then the next month I went Diamond, and I earned a $20,000 bonus. I also had my husband's account and we promoted that, and we earned some money there. And honestly, you guys, like that work that I put in the beginning, it was hard. So if you're in a season of rebuilding, yes, it was hard. And yes, it is always worth it. Remind yourself of that. And I just continued to do that every year. And so that was when I came home from my job. I haven't worked another day since 2015. And then we moved out of the apartment life. We moved into a rental home. That's when I went double. And then as I was going triple a year later, I bought my first home. It was a beautiful 6-bedroom home. It was the biggest accomplishment of my life. Like, it was amazing. We had a backyard. We had another child. Like, it was literally heaven, but something was missing, and that was Michael. And so that's when I was like, all right, time to go presidential. And once again, every time you hit a new goal, you have to hit, you got to plan your next goal. You need to plan to reach that next goal. And I just kept doing that. And for me, that's ranking up. And so if you're wondering, like, what's your goal? Get to the next rank. That's your goal. What do you mean, what's your goal? Re-rank and then move further. Reach higher. Do it again. Why not? You did it before. Do it again. There's nothing different now. In fact, the company's 10 times better. We got an amazing CEO. We got better payment. We got better products. Like, what? Or, like, listen to the things you're telling yourself and ask yourself, are they true? Is it written in stone somewhere by God? Or are you just like thinking this to yourself and creating your own prison within your own head? Like, what are you speaking over your business? What are you telling yourself about who you are and what you're capable of doing? Because whether you plant negative or positive, your subconscious mind is going to take whichever one you consciously choose to believe. And so I didn't even realize all that stuff then, because I did all that without self-development. Okay. But then all of a sudden I was like, okay, time to go presidential. That's when we brought Michael home. I saw paychecks that would make you crap your pants. Like, literally, I didn't even understand how I was doing it. And it was truly just, I started to identify as somebody that only made that much money. And so there's a great book called Secrets of a Millionaire Mind, I think it's called. And it taught me, like, oh, so that's why I see myself this way. This is my new standard. I created new standards for myself. I up leveled every single time. And I'm going to tell y'all, that one check that you made that you look back on, I want you to think about it in your head. The highest check you've ever made with it works. Like, what if you, instead of being like, oh my God, I'm so afraid I'm going to lose all this, instead say, this is who I am now. This is the minimum of what I make. This is, I don't make anything less than this, right? And anything less, you got uncomfortable and you caught back up and then you set a new goal. Like, think about how much further you'd be by now. You know what I mean? And so for me, I was just ready for more. I was comfortable at a while at presidential. I was like, well, my best friend's ambassador, I want to get there with you. And then all of a sudden I'm dreaming bigger again and setting a new standard. And then you have this income coming in where it's like, you don't want anything else but that. Like, your family's happy, you're blessed. Like, you get to say yes, you get to go to Disney, you get to have no debt, you get to pay off your home, like, you get to buy a new car, like, you get to have experiences, and life is easier because you get to say yes. And if anyone says money doesn't make you happy, I call BS, because that's absolutely not true. Like, whether you have tons of money or not, like if you're unhappy, it's because of something else besides money. Because money's going to give you fix all your problems. Like what is that Ariana Grande song? It's like if you don't have enough, if you say money doesn't solve your problems, you must not have enough money to solve them. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so for me, I love the money because I'm giving my family the best life. We get to give back. We get to change lives along the way. Me being successful means my team is successful. And for me, that gives me purpose. And that's why I fight so hard with this business. And so, anyway, we left North Carolina. We just built our second home here in Charleston, South Carolina. And you guys, like, we just have the life we want. And honestly, I got a little comfortable for a while. And so we're dreaming bigger again and we're shooting towards double ambassador now. But most importantly for me, it's being present with my kids and it's knowing that I can do it from a phone. And I get to be mom. I don't have to clock in. I don't have to be employee. Like that makes the hard worth it because you will catch yourself sometimes complaining about this, complaining about that, complaining this, blah, blah, blah. Team, like best part of this business is people, worst part, people, same thing. So it's worth it. The heart is worth it because I would never be caught dead going back to a job because nobody's going to tell me what to do. I get to be my own boss. I get to make my own hours. I'm in charge. And that right there is one of the biggest blessings that I will ever experience in my life. So that's my story.
Okay, they're probably like, okay, we can go now. No, Brittany, but for real, okay, I want to share a few things that like really stuck out to me, you guys,
Okay.
because these are some of the things that I feel like we repeat over and over until I'm like blue in the face, but we don't say it over and over. First of all, we're saying it again because some people aren't listening. Okay, like y'all aren't listening to some of these things, which is where you're gonna bridge that gap of frustration and where you want to be. And one of those things which my team probably knows, they're like, she's gonna say charts. Listen, Brittany said when I decided to get serious, right? Like you guys, I feel like there's always this little like tipping point of life where you're like, screw this, like I'm doing this. Like I want to own my time. I want to say how fast I can grow. I want to give myself these pay raises. And what's amazing is you have the vehicle. So it's like, why not do that? But listen, you have those moments of something that does that for you, right? And hers was missing some of her baby stuff and she's like, no, not happening again. There's always like that tipping point. But here's the thing, she said when she got serious, she got her charts out. You guys, if you do not have your freaking charts out, you don't plan to promote. You're not planning to grow. Like it's like you may say you want it, but it's really like you don't want it yet. Like you're not willing to put in the work to get yourself there because there's no guessing. It literally will tell you. And then guess what she said? She looked at her map and she's like, hey, I know that I need this many DTs. Do you guys know how many DTs that you need for either your re-rank or your new promotion? Because if you don't, you're going to get off the Zoom and you're going to go count. Because what we were taught from the beginning was you look at that chart and you see how many distributors that you need, and then that's your goal, right? You're not putting that goal onto other people. That is your goal. So even if it's 7 people and you're like, well, Sarah, I've never signed 7 people in a month yet. Guess what? What else did she say? Create a new standard for yourself. What if you can sign 7 people every single month? But if you keep telling yourself you can't, you're not going to. But listen, what's cool is if you have that standard for yourself this month, and then your team starts following your lead and they all of a sudden enroll 7 people, you've now have 14 people on your team. That's where Brittany double promoted, right? That's where Brittany went Ruby and Emerald in the same month because she was like, I'm not playing small anymore. And the other thing that I think that I just really want you guys to hear is like, she knew where she wanted to be and what rank that was. And she started being that person, right? She started following the diamonds and doing exactly what these diamonds were doing, right? So you can find the diamonds, you can find the double diamonds. They're on the Show Me the Money calls. That's what we call them, right? But what is it now? I can't even remember. It's like money and
Monday
mindset matters,
motivation.
right? On Monday. And it is true. Money and mindset does matter. But the truth is, you guys, is you follow those people like that you're not in this alone. It's not a guessing game. You can see exactly what you want. So you have to ask yourself, are you ready to put in the work to get it? Okay, so here, let's be real for a minute too. I told Brittany, I'm like, I want all the real and the raw because I like that. I like the nitty gritty of things. And so also if you have questions, you can pop them in the chat and I'll watch it for Brittany. But Brittany, we all know like it's not just this like 9 years of just this amazing steady climb the whole entire time, right? Like things kind of come, things go, people quit, people leave, they come back. Like we know those things, right? And so can you just share a little bit of the obstacles that you've overcome, and just the mindset, or like when you drew that line in the sand so that you could change the trajectory of your business? Because Brittany, like we're in the ambassador chat, and you guys, like when she says successful people, it's not because things are perfect, but they are out there hungry for solutions. Like I can't stress that enough. Like we don't sit in this chat and complain. Like we're like, hey, this is happening. How do we fix it? Like, has anybody else had this? Like we are looking for answers at all times. Like we're ready to literally crash that glass ceiling that sits there for us at any moment, right? So can you just share like some of the obstacles that you've overcome in your business and how you kind of, with the mindset that you took to draw that line in the sand? Because right now, Brittany's in massive momentum. Like she's done some incredible, incredible things. Her team is doing incredible things over these last few months. And it's been so fun to watch. And that's why I wanted her on. I was like, Brittany, I want it. Like people need to hear your stuff. So will you share a little bit about that?
Yes. Okay. So first of all, I feel like at some point in my business, I had so many people like leave, quit, cancel, um, stop answering me, all like just everything that I'm sure you guys have experienced, right? At some point, you get on so many Zooms and you work on yourself so much behind the scenes that you grow a thicker skin. And for me, I just knew where I was going. And at some point, I known like with when you're going uphill to your destination, like if I got to diamond, I hit bumps. So doesn't that mean if I go to double and triple, I have a larger team, there's going to be more bumps? So I was just so set on knowing I was going to reach the top of the mountain and faster, or even like honestly, you're never stop climbing the mountain. Like you're always going up, right? You're always trying to get better, make more, whatever. But I'm so set on knowing that I can have success and that I know I can reach where I want to go, that everything that happens to me is a part of the process. So write that down. It's a part of the process. It's the peace knowing that everything happens for a reason. Okay, I even got it tattooed on me. um, it's happening for good. And you have to learn from it. And if you don't learn from it, it's going to keep happening and keep getting you stuck. And so there's this great quote here. It says, I'm not stuck unless I stop. And so you have to continue to keep moving. For me in the beginning, my biggest hit was promoting to double. And I believe that when you go diamond, my diamond, at least, maybe you can relate, was made up of kind of someone who kind of got to Ruby on their own, someone else who like wasn't even working, promoted to Ruby, but some people under them were like, it was just kind of like a mod podge of like, this person's giving 10%, this person's giving 50, this person's doing that. Like it was just an umbrella underneath me of people like kind of working. There wasn't a real rock star yet. Well, when I went double, I was thinking the same thing. Well, I just got to throw people under there in the right spots and get them to double. And I got to double and then I lost it. And I lost my bonus with it. And I was like so devastated. But I had to learn how to become a leader. I had to learn things before God was like, okay, you're ready for this. And so, what you're going through is a lesson for you to become better. And if you look at it that way, that it's for you instead of against you, you will always be a winner. Because if you stop or you let these things dictate you, it's just never going to end well. And so I think you have to change how you look at everything in your business. Perspective is key. Like the fact that Sarah's telling me right now that she's telling you the same things over and over and over again and you're not doing it, why? There's a problem there. You either don't believe in yourself, you have some PTSD, you just don't believe in yourself. So then let's take a second to think, okay, how can I look at everything that's happened to me and instead learn from it And instead of starting over, I'm starting from experience. Like I have so much experience right now that everything was not a problem. It was a lesson because I'm going to bring in a team that's going to come in and they're going to dominate. But really, for a second, before I talk about this more, why are you not listening to her? She's an ambassador. Like she built to the top of the company. Doesn't everybody want to be in her shoes? So you need to look inside and ask yourself, because I know for me, when I speak to my team and I'm telling the same things over and over and I'm giving them exactly what to say, they have the knowledge. And you guys are smart. You've been in here, some of y'all said 9 years, 12 years. You're smart as can be. It's just you're not taking it and utilizing it and running with it because you have something that you're telling yourself that only you know deep within as to why you can't work this business. So why don't you see yourself at the next promotion? Those are things that I've started to write down on paper. I just sent a book in the chat, and I don't know how many of you guys have heard of this book before, but Christy Christensen sent this in the ambassador chat. And she was like, I just remember reading that she read it like 8 times or something stupid. And I was like, who reads a book 8 times? And immediately I was like, I need to know what book this is. And I listened to the Audible. So this is get the Audible version. And what I needed to learn recently, because I'll get to that in a second, how I pulled myself out of my funk and things that I went through, was this book. And I wish I found this years ago, because what I didn't know is that like we all have like identities, I guess, and how you identify helps you become successful or not. And so like this book will basically teach you how to transform your mind and become a different person, because if you can like see yourself as that girl you once were who was on fire and promoting, like if you can believe that that's who you are right now again, like you're going to start doing the things, right? So it's like that book helps me so much. I wish I could have had that in the beginning, but I think somebody's unmuted, by the
You
way.
got it.
Okay, so I had to fall back down to diamond to be able to understand what I had to do to go double. And so I built an emerald when I went double that didn't care, and she wasn't really working and she left. And so what I learned is I have to bring more people in. I have to start being a better distributor enroller. So I started upping my numbers to around 8 to 10 a month. And then all of a sudden, I started to find people that actually wanted to work. And so I was so focused on getting somebody who was just like, I'm boxed, let me get them to promote. Okay, is it worth it though? Like, instead, how can I work on myself and then find the people that will actually match my energy, that want to do this with me, and I'm going to pour into them. And then it's not going to be draining. It's not going to be something I dread. It's not going to be hard anymore. And that's when I found the person that took me to triple, and then they went triple. Okay. So, like, once again, if you have a team that you feel like you're having to drag along, love them for where they're at. Every therapist advice out there, they'll tell you that love your mother for where she's at. You can't change them. Like, you can only inspire these people by working. But the minute you turn around to try to fix your team, help your team, pull your team up, is the time when you're going to get dragged down, and then you're going to start saying, why am I so bad at this business? You're going to start internalizing it. You're going to start blaming yourself when, hold on a second, you can sign distributors, you can sign customers. Let's just turn around and let's focus on the chart. Let's focus on promoting. Let's put in the action, because if we know we get the action, when we get results, we get confidence. And then all of a sudden everything comes together and you're like, oh, I am a badass still, you know? So for me, I had to learn that hard lesson. And then honestly, it was just only up there until I went ambassador. When I went ambassador, I did lose ambassador. In fact, I lost presidential too. And that was over the course of 2.5, 3 years, that each year it kind of went down. And I'm going to tell you why. It's truly because I went through life and I had some very hard personal things happen to me in conjunction with complacency. I got burnt out. I had a video go viral on TikTok. And for those of you who are praying for viral videos, let me tell you something. When you get a viral video, it's amazing. It's the best thing in the world. I signed dozens and dozens of distributors continuously throughout the
Brittany,
rest of the
I
year.
literally remember your TikTok. Is that not
Um,
crazy? I remember this. So it's so funny that you're bringing this up.
Yes, it was a blessing and a curse because it taught me that I can create video content and sign tons of people, and I love that. In fact, that's how I enroll now, but it took me away from the work. And I forgot how to work. I forgot how to follow up with people. I had so many people signing on the spot that I kind of got a little in my head like all I have to do is post and people sign up. And they did. But eventually algorithms change and accounts change and things change on social media that at one point I stopped enrolling. I got in my head. I stopped doing self-development. My mom became very ill and bedridden. She's been bedridden for several years. My dad got diagnosed with cancer. We had to sell our house and move. And it was because we were building a dream home. But then when we got here and we got into our rental, we had problem after problem after problem after problem. My youngest got horrible anxiety. We've had so much life and inner like home issue, like shit storm basically. Sorry if you have kids around, but it was a crap storm, and it was the hardest years of my life that I fell into a deep depression. And for the first time in my life, I had to go into therapy. I had to have so much help and I didn't know how to lead my team. And I'm so thankful for Katie because she took over the team when I went through my lowest point in my entire life. And I'm 30 and it was really, really hard. And you can tell your story to somebody else, they'll never know. Like the things I'm telling you is probably like, oh, but you don't know. You just don't know. And like, I don't know what you go through and I don't know what you cry about. Like, you can tell somebody and you're like, but you still just don't understand. You know what I mean? And so the feelings that I have, I'm telling you, I've never seen myself here. I never pictured myself here. And sometimes you just have to go through things. And I had to go through it. And it taught me so much. But it got to this point this year, where or last year, sorry, where I was like, I have to make a change because if I don't change, then I'm in trouble. Like, thank God for savings, thank God for my income and all of that, because this house was so expensive that at some point I was like, I bought this home on the income that I was making. And here I am letting it slip and I'm being lazy. And I took advantage of having such a big team that I stopped working. And eventually it will catch up to you.
Mhm.
And it did for me. And it was not easy. Thank God we didn't run into any crazy financial issues, but I was so afraid that we were going to. And that's also a great thing to look at, that you put your all into this business and it's going to pay you for years, like even through the hard things, right? But I wanted more. I wanted to get back on my feet. I wanted to inspire my team again. I wanted to go all in and get back to where I was. But more importantly, I wanted to feel like myself again. I did not feel like myself when I wasn't leading. I didn't feel like myself when I wasn't creating content and enrolling people. That's what I feel like I'm meant to do, is like be here with this company. And so I had to just do it all over again. So I had to work through some really hard things. I did self development every single day. I got plugged in corporate every single day. I was starting to coach people again. I was enrolling people slowly. And then now I'm back at my high enrollments again. But I had to start somewhere and I had to create vision for myself. And so for me, that looked like visualizing. That's huge. That's what that book is going to teach you. I had to see myself winning again. I closed my eyes. I visualized myself living my dream life, back at Ambassador, back where I want to be, like everything that I want to do while I go, get back to it, all the things, all my vision board goals over here that I have, I visualize that. And then what I do is I took the thoughts that I was having in my head. So earlier when I said, hey, why is Sarah saying these things and you guys aren't doing it? Well, think about it. Are you a procrastinator? Do you think you're horrible at signing distributors? Do you feel like nobody wants to join your team anymore? Do you feel like whatever your thing is? So I wrote down all these negative things on a piece of paper. And what I did instead was I was like, okay, I looked at this and I was like, these are the things holding me back. I'm ready for more. I'm ready to go all in. I know I can do this. So I wrote the opposite. So I wrote everything down. I said, I don't procrastinate. I respond to messages quickly. I do my work instead of putting it off. and I would write down all the positives every single day, every morning. So that was my journal in the morning, and I'd write these things down. And then what I did was I found myself sitting down, and instead of being a productive procrastinator and doing everything else to be productive, I was truly procrastinating on my work. So I'd have to force myself to dive back into my business. I was afraid to go in, guys. Put a one in the chat if you relate to this in any way, or any of you afraid to go all in again. If not, that's okay. But I was. And I was afraid of falling apart. I was afraid of putting my all into something and maybe not running quick enough. I don't know. Like, I just had all these thoughts. But you know what? I had to force myself. It was the most uncomfortable thing for probably like 5 days. And then after that, I started to see my legs go up again. I started to feel like myself. I got excited. I was like, oh my gosh, getting back to this rank, building a Ruby right here. Like, this is simple. And then that's when I ranked up again. And so now next is an ambassador. And so I'm just excited. I'm on fire. My team's on fire. And honestly, your team, that the one that you're like, I wish they would just work, or whatever you're telling yourself, they're going to start working, some of them, when they see you stepping up again, right? And how are you going to step up? Fresh blood. Get people in the system. Why are we not signing 10 distributors in a month? If you've been in this business longer than 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, like 10 a month. My diamonds, 10 a month. If you do less than that, you better make up for it next month. Like, that's our mindset. Because we know out of every 10, you're going to find 2 to 3 people that work. The rest are eventually going to, like, sorry, it's the truth. That's normal. But if I can find 5 new people this month that are going to bring in 500 volume, like, what is that going to do for your business? Is that going to help you rank up? Like, what kind of bonuses are you going to be earning? Would you have earned the diamond bonus this month, or any of the rank up bonuses? Like, what rank were you going after? What could you have done differently to take it a little more serious before this? Like, that is what you can do right now, because next month we have conference. And I know by then you will have your mindset on track. You will have it together. You'll be on fire again. You're going to go into conference and you're going to feel alive. Then that's going to turn it up a notch when you leave there, because I have a feeling it's going to be amazing. Every year it's amazing. And so right now is the time to get serious. It's the time to buckle down. It's the time to print out your charts and staple them. If they are not physically in front of you on top of your computer, the most important thing in the room, make it. But that's my journey, and it's hard. It's nasty, it's dirty, it's sad, it's personal, but it made me stronger. And I needed it to go to where I'm going now.
It's so crazy to you guys because so many times, like when you first start, you're just doing it blindly, right? You're like, we don't, you're so excited with possibility. And it's like you want to go back and be like, what has taken some of that from you? Like, what has taken some of that excitement from you? Because you guys, there's more possibility than ever before in networks. Like, that's what Brittany was saying. Like, our weekly paydays are insane. Like, what we can offer and the match it bonuses and all those things. Like, you can make so much money. So, like, the possibilities are there. And so, some of the things that I want you guys to hear when you think about changing your trajectory and like building that momentum and that type of stuff, you hear her. She made a decision, right? She set new goals. She's working on her mindset again. She showed up. Like, she showed up whether she wanted to or not. Like, and sometimes you guys, you may just have to make yourself a list. Like, what we do is not hard, but I've learned, like, every night, I tell my team this all the time. I'm like, I literally take 3 minutes and I'm like, okay, what are you going to do in the morning when you wake up so that you don't even have to think? Like, you're going to wake up and you're just going to start doing. I don't want to have to think, what should I start with? What should I do? That type of thing. And so I set that up for myself. And the thing is, you guys, is that if you're putting, like, you can never be too busy to build and live a life that you love. Like, you have to, like, you cannot think that that should not be a priority. Like, it 110% should be one of your top priorities. And so for myself, even as life changed and things got busy, I'm like, you know what? If I can get a bulk of my stuff done in the morning, guess what? My day is not going to get away from me. It just isn't, right? And so sometimes I found what was daunting. Like, starting it or hoping I could get to it during the day, I was like, that's not working. And then I'm actually having to start from square one at nighttime, and I'm tired by that, right? Like I have three babies that are calling my name that need me every 5 seconds, like, and so I realized that. And so sometimes you just have to shift a little bit, but you have to figure out what it is that you want. And I want to share something with you guys too. And she talked about this, like, when she was just coasting, like, first of all, we can only coast backwards. Like, Mark has said that over and over, and you guys, like, legitimately, if you think about that, you cannot coast forward unless you're going downhill. Okay, you still that's not where you want to go. You don't want to go downhill, right? Like you're trying to get to the mountaintop, right? But he talks about that. And I was on his Zoom last night and I said to them, I was like, you know what? If you're 1 foot in and 1 foot out, remember you're still 1 foot out, right? You yes, you have 1 foot here, but it takes 2 feet in. Like plain and simple. Like if you're kind of doing this whole dance on the line, that is exactly everything you're attracting in your business. So if you're frustrated, like I said this, I'm like, the Lord is not going to bring you customers if He doesn't know that you're going to show up tomorrow or the next day or even next week to take care of them, right? Like He's going to bring you people to help and to serve when He knows that you are truly there to serve them. And it's going to be, you're going to be there tomorrow, you're going to be there the week, you're going to be there and asking them about how where their progress is in 1 month, right? He's not going to do that if you don't even know if you're showing up next week. And so I was telling them, I'm like, you have to remember, like, be who you want to attract in your business. If you're like, dang, these people aren't really working and they're not enrolling, ask yourself, are you enrolling? Are you showing up every single day for your business? Because until you do, you're probably not going to attract the same people because they're trying to copy what you do. And even though you can say, hey, go follow Sarah or go follow Brittany, and we're doing that, you guys, they joined you. Like you are their magic sauce. They want to work with you. Like, yes, will they eventually be like, oh, I'm so inspired by this person. Oh, man, she brings a lot of tidbits, right? She will, but ultimately they joined you. So you have to think to yourself, like, you got to also make that decision to be 2 feet in. Like Brittany and I, we're not here thinking like, oh my gosh, what's my business going to do? We know what our business is going to do because we know what we can do and what we're capable of doing. And we're not sitting there like, oh, is it going to be tomorrow? Or am I still in this? Am I not? Right? Like that's the people you're going to attract until you set a new standard for yourself and you put 2 feet in and you start moving the needle. So, Brittany, tell us, what have you been focused on for yourself? Like your goal that has you moving that needle and has your team enrolling. What are the things that you guys are really, really focused on? First off, I'm going to tell you one thing that Brittany said. She didn't even know. We were just chit chatting. And she's like, we don't really do host a post very much. And I go, well, my team is going to be really excited to hear that because we all know that's not our strongest suit, right? Like you guys, when I talk to you guys, that's probably one of your biggest struggles is that, but you love like the genuine side of things and having posts and having like you love the conversations, right? You want the messages, you want those flowing. You're not afraid to message. And so I was like, Brittany, you got to tell him that because I was like, that is so funny. Like, and I just think it's funny how the Lord works. Like that I'm asking her to do this, and I didn't even know the things that they do to do this. And she's like, "Oh yeah, this is what we do." And I'm like, "That's okay. Like, spill the beans, Brittany. Share it with them."
Yeah, so my team, we're focused on working smarter, not harder this season. We started with host post and it was amazing. And then Facebook just started getting more annoying and more annoying and more annoying. So for us, we pivot to content creation. And so everything we do are reels and then Facebook posts. And then a lot of the girls do like put their reels on Facebook also. But this is how I'm enrolling all my team members. This is how I'm enrolling my customers. So that's kind of what we're focused on. I know is am I answering the question right? I feel like I'm missing something too. You said how are we or what are we working towards? I think you said. Hold on, you're muted. I'm sorry. You're muted.
Yes, I was. Thank you.
Okay.
No, I was saying like what goal do you set for yourself, right? Like you already kind of shared
Yeah.
like you're like 10 distributors, right? that's what
Yeah.
you're like going for, that type of thing. But just showing and sharing like what you're focused on with your team that has them enrolling and
Okay.
obviously promoting and like earning those weekly bonuses that is getting you guys those types of successes.
Okay. Okay. So like I said, we do everything through content creation and we all have our own personal goals every single month. So all of my team at the beginning of every month, I know what my goal is. It's to rank up a certain amount of people. And then I have like my 2.0 that I'm always trying to rank up as well. And of course my 1.0, which when you go ambassador, you have a second account that you get to grow. That's basically what that means. And so at the beginning of every month, I'm focused on my goals. In fact, I know what my goal is for next month already, you know. Then my team, what I'm doing is I'm going to my leaders and I'm saying, hey, what are your goals for the month? So I'm locking arms with them. Their goals, they know 10 distributors is their goal. And then I let them obviously, like, however many customers they need, whatever. But I'm directing them to do that with their team as well. And so everybody's kind of going down and down and down and down, making sure that their team is connecting with their team. And we're setting goals. We're going over charts. We're going over what you need. We're going over why, most importantly, why you didn't do it last month when you said you were going to. And so we're addressing problems and we're fixing it. So that's one thing you got to do is kind of inspect what's going on inside your team member's head. Well, why didn't you hit Ruby? It's never because I didn't message enough people. That's not why. It's because you thought something. You didn't think you were able to. You had low confidence, which then triggers not messaging enough people. There's a deeper thing here, is what I'm trying to say. And so we have to do that. We're in our work with them. That's the thing that doesn't come naturally to people. That is a little harder for others, but for me, it comes naturally, and I'm really good at that. And so the thing is you can become really good at that. And so I'm telling you, be a little more red. Talk to your team. Hey, you had a goal last month. I want to know, you can be completely honest with me. Why didn't you hit that? Figure out what that is and then coach them on it in a loving yellow way, you know. But whatever your color is, I just feel like you have to address the obvious. We have to um equip our team with everything they need, and then most importantly, lead by example, because your team is going to do what you're doing, not what you say to do. And so they're going to follow you. If they can see you sign 10 distributors this month, they're going to be like, what are you doing? Tell me, tell me. They're going to perk up a little bit. They're going to want to know what you're doing. You're going to teach them. That's how your team becomes better. And so we have systems for ours. We have a newbie chat. Um, you graduate out of the newbie chat when you sign your 4. So that's kind of our system, is when they come in, we get you your 4 right away, because we're like, you want to leave this chat. You don't want to be here. You want to go to the Run to Ruby chat. This chat sucks. Get out of it. Come on. Then we get you in the Run to Ruby. Then you start our section 2 training, which teaches you how to sign distributors. And so then in our Run to Ruby group, we're pouring into you distributor videos. We're giving you posts. We're giving you all the things. And then you don't want to be in there. This sucks. Get to the Run to Emerald chart, like chat. So we're like, get out, get you to Emerald. So when they go Ruby, then we get them into the Run to Emerald. And so that keeps our team consistently wanting to rank up. And so every month we have a Run to Ruby Zoom and a Run to Emerald Zoom, where we teach you how to promote. We also have a Google form where you put all your limiting beliefs on it, and I go over every single one and why it's stupid and why you shouldn't think like that and how to stop thinking like that. And I pour into them and let them know they're made for more, and I give them everything I did to go ambassador. And guess what? Some people don't do it. But there's always people that do. And those are the people that I work with closely. They're going to make you the most money. You pour into them. They're the ones that want this. And you're going to change those people's lives. And then you just keep enrolling more people. And so for me, I just have that system. So everybody knows their goal is ranking up. So our system is, we teach you how to be a amazing customer enroller. We do that through host posts and content creation, because we know content creation isn't going to work for a newbie right away. Like, it might, but you got to build your following, you know. So host posts is kind of what we lean on there. Then we're teaching you how to sign distributors. We're teaching you how to be really good at that. And then we're going to get you through our section 3, which teaches you how to train your new distributor. And so for us, we're only focused on ranking up, and we got content on deck to teach, like lined up. I got all my content. I give it to you. I tell you, go make it. And then you come to me with why you're not doing it, or questions you have, or problems. And I basically am teaching these people how to become mini Britneys. And that's basically what I do. I'm focused on making sure that they're getting comments on their video, that they know how to respond, that they know the systems, and then most importantly, that they know they have me to lean on. And then it's hard for me because I've spent the last 3 days pouring into my team doing so much work. But you know what? I need to remind them, hey, you got two more customers left till you get your quick start bonus. You got this many left until you get this. I want you to do it by Thursday. Yeah, you have 3 more weeks, but I want you to do it by Thursday. And so I'm setting these standards and showing that they can, showing them these standards that they for themselves and showing them that they can enroll that many. And I'm giving them the tools necessary. I'm checking in with them daily. Not I never say, hey, how are you doing? I'm always giving them something to do, or I am complimenting them or critiquing them on something and coaching them, or I'm addressing like, hey, I'm getting the feeling that you're maybe not sure on what to post. Can I help you with that? So I'm always doing that work with people and not necessarily just, hey, how are you? How's your day? No, your team is going to stay when they get results. So if you can help them get results right away within the first 2 weeks, they will stay. It's about getting them a paycheck. And so that's what I focus on, is just teaching them how to get customers the way I get customers. And so I get my ideas from scrolling on Instagram. I find other network marketers and other companies, and I'm able to look at a video and then I can like boom, immediately come up with the idea of how I can incorporate the slimmer into that, how I can do the 30-day drop with that. And like, so I'm just taking videos that performed well and I'm doing them. Even if it's not network marketing videos, if I see a different video, like I can once again look at that and think, how can I incorporate my business into this? And why did it go viral? I got to do those exact things in my video, right? Because like I said earlier, my video did go viral back in 2020. It got 2 million views in 2 days. I had over 15,000 messages. So I went from like 10, honestly, like maybe 4,000 followers on TikTok to like 50 overnight. It was insane. And then a similar thing happened on my Instagram too. But anyway, that's a whole different story. But my point is that I promised myself that from now on, I'm going to work for consistent views and consistent comments and leads coming in, and not necessarily chase the numbers or chase something like a viral video. Again, what I want is just consistency. I want to grow my business consistently. And as long as I see numbers on views, numbers on followers, numbers on messages coming in going up, I know I'm doing something right. And that's the path that I want to stay on. And that's what I'm teaching my team to do. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, and I think that's important, you guys, because especially even new people, it's like they're so worried about what they don't have, right? Like the followers or whatever it is. And it's like, you don't even need that. Like, that's the crazy thing. Like, I've even been here for how long? And as long as I have new eyes coming in and like even letting some of the people go, that's okay. Like if they're not interested in what I'm sharing, like I don't want to waste my time either. Like I'm not offended by that, right? But your goal is consistency so that you can be growing, right? You can always be growing, but like you're not trying to respond to 15,000 messages. Like that's a lot of people, right? And you're like, "Oh man, how do I know who's serious? How do I not?" Like that's a lot of time where she's like trying to go message all these people. So sometimes, yes, we think like, oh, we would want that. But truly, consistency is so much better. And the thing is, you guys, it's consistency. You will start getting that, the consistent messages, the consistent enrollments, the consistent likes, and those types of things if you start showing up consistently yourself. Like I always say this, you have to take yourself seriously for others to do the same, right? Like you kind of set the pace for yourself. So again, you have to ask yourself, like, am I being serious? Like, who would I attract with what I'm doing right now? Is that who you want to attract? Like self reflection is so huge. And if you plan to be here for a long time with a bomb business, like you got to get real with yourself, right? It's like, and no one's here to slap your hand because you don't have a boss. Like you're it. That's the cool thing about it. But it is nice to have people like Brittany who are checking in and are like, why didn't you do that? It's okay to ask that. And I saw this thing, I don't even know, I'm not going to probably say it 100% right, but it said, be grateful for the people who push you Because the truth is those are the people that believe in you, and they are also the people that are going to make you better. So
Mhm.
if somebody's not pushing you and they're just like telling you what you want to hear, y'all, like that's cute and that's nice, but that is not going to get you to where you want to be. That is not going to help you move the needle. Like that's being like, hey, it's cool being complacent. Like, yeah, you can settle for that. Like, we're not here to live that life. Like, it works. That's not what it works teaches us, you know? And so I love all the stuff that you've shared tonight, Brittany. And you guys, you can see how important mindset is, right? And how important commitment to yourself is. Like that's one of the highest forms of self love that you can have is keeping promises to yourself. I say this all the time. I'm like, start with one promise a day, but like keep it to yourself. Develop the habit. Be like, you know what? I am not giving myself an excuse to not do it. And have that one thing be something tied to the rank that you're going, right? Have it, what is it that's going to help you? If you're like, hot dang, I need distributors, like Brittany just said 10, I need distributors. Start messaging. Let the one thing be, I am going to message this many people and invite them into this business. Let number two be, I'm going to start sharing about the business and what I love about this business, because the more you do those things, that's what you're going to be attracting into your business. So, Brittany, any last minute tips that you want to leave these people with to go crush the rest of this month?
Um, I think discipline yourself so no one else
Yep.
has to is a big one. Um, and don't let fear keep you from your destiny. I would love to know why you guys feel like you're stuck. I would love for you to put that in the chat if there's a reason or a specific thing that you feel like you can't move forward with right now, or what do you feel chained to, or what do you feel like you can't change, you know? Um, if you want to share that really quickly. But
She's
I
calling
think
you
for
out. You gotta pay more attention. This is this is the red in Brittany. This is what I love. She's like, I want to know. Like, let's talk about it, right? She even told her people. She puts a Google form. Brittany, that's actually really brave and bold to like soak all that in. But I love that you go and you're like, these are dumb. These are
they
dumb, you know?
are.
And you guys, here's one of the things while you better be blowing that chat up because everybody has stuff. I know they do. We all have stuff, okay? But I wanted to tell you too. I'm like, I was sitting there thinking today and I'm like, why is it that you will believe the lies that somebody tells you or the lies that you tell yourself about yourself, but you won't believe the truth that somebody sees in you? Like, isn't that so odd? It's like you are so willing to believe the lies that you tell yourself about yourself, but you literally are not willing to believe the truths that somebody else is speaking into
Mhm.
you, that they see in you. Like, just ask yourself that, you know? And I say this because some of us don't have like our people who we enrolled with, right? Like we don't have those people who believed in us in the beginning and that type of stuff. So we either find our people or whatever. But you guys, like if you have people that believe in you, like you should be so freaking grateful and never take that for granted because they're giving you more than what some of your closest people in your life do not. Like that's kind of crazy to think about. Like, and that is why I love this business and I love this community of freaking hungry women who are bold because you guys, like, you get that here. It's not like that elsewhere. It sure as heck wasn't like that in my nursing job. Like, people weren't like, Sarah, you should go do this, so that way you can be the person that knows how to do everything. They were like, oh, I'm not going to tell her that because I don't know how to do that. So then she'd be one up me. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, they're putting stuff in the chat for you, Brittany.
Yeah. Okay. So Lindsay said always being told I wasn't good enough. So I'm going to tell you my perspective on that. Okay. Prove them wrong. Because if you let that hold you back, then you're proving them right. So once again, how we look at something changes the thing, right? When we change it, how we look at things, what we look at changes. And so you are good enough. So once again, why are we letting other people tell us who we are? We are like, I don't know, I don't know if you're religious or not, lean on, the word, lean on who you want to be, create that new person. And next time you find yourself telling yourself that, shut it down. Say, no, that's not true. There's a great book called Winning the War Within Your Mind. You should probably read that. Okay, next, self-confidence and self-doubt. Well, Amanda, what have you been doing to change that? Or are you accepting that you're not confident? Are you accepting that you're doubtful? Like what for me, that change your book, change your paradigm, change your life book that I shared up above, that's what you need. You need to develop confidence, start celebrating the small wins, turn off comparison, and stop doubting yourself and get those small wins going and then remind yourself, well, if I can do that, then I can do it on a larger scale and there's nothing different from that. So ask yourself, what can I do to fix that? Once again, seek solutions to your problems. Sometimes we're the problem. It's not the customer, it's not that your video is not well, like you are the problem, right? Afraid of losing triple again. So then don't build different. Why did it fall apart last time? Were you working with people who didn't care? What was the issue? And if you don't know, I'm sure your best friend in the business can tell you. So don't lose triple again. And just know that that's normal. Sometimes you lose rank in business, but that doesn't mean we should be afraid. Like what I would be afraid of is not building my business again. Once again, look at that from a different point of view. Like what will happen if you don't go triple again? Will you like, what does that look like? Make it scary. Scare yourself. That's what Tony Robbins taught me, right? Scare yourself so much to where you they do an exercise in UPW anyway for that. Anyway, afraid of failing, letting my family down. Well, if you don't even try in this business, how are you going to let them down that way? Like I know if I didn't take my business serious again, I would have had to get a job probably next year. So, that's letting my family down big time. So it's something to think about there is, you know, are you going to let them down in another way if you don't do it, right? And sometimes the strongest thing you can do to become the strong, like build a strong business, is become strong through books. And so if you're not reading a book a month on something you need to hear to fix and all of these problems, then you don't want it bad enough. Like I wanted it so bad at one point when I hit rock bottom last year that I was willing to do anything. I read books, I did everything to fix it. So there's something in your life maybe holding you in a comfortable position right now to where you could use the money, but you don't need it. So that's something to think about. And then having a system, create a system, create a system. If you don't have a system, create it. If you're not organized, Danny, get organized. There's YouTube, figure it out. Like go watch a video. It's not hard. That cannot hold you back from running your business. You can figure that out. You have the power to do that. It's a video away. Try out a system. If that doesn't work, pivot, try a different one. And then self-doubt and wondering if you can be successful. Melissa, you are no different than me. We were both skin and bones. We have a heart. We both wipe our butts. Like there's no difference. Go learn the stuff. Go do it. Learn the stuff and do it. Celebrate your small wins and start getting comfortable because all of y'all deserve this. And you will do it when you decide you're ready for change, decide you're ready to think different, and decide you're ready for more. Okay,
I
that's
love
all.
it. So here's the thing. I always say you have a start day, and then we also have like a D day, which is like the decision day. And it's so funny to me because that decision day hits people at different points. Like mine was when I was almost triple, and then I was, oh my gosh, double diamond to triple is the hardest thing for me to do. But I lost rank and I was like, I had a D day. Like I was like, am I going to just say like that was it? And that was like 9 months of total badassness where I was like on top of the world and I was like, wow, having this extra income is so amazing. It has helped my family. It has relieved stress. It has brought more fun into our life, like all those things. And that was my decision. I was like, the hard things are people quitting or growth. I'm going to embrace those things, but I'm going to freaking keep going. And so you have that decision day. And that might be tonight. You guys may get off this and be like, I'm done with my own crap. Like it's you get to the point where you honestly annoy yourself a little bit, right? You're like, I'm actually annoying myself at this point. And so when you get specific and you know the things that you need to be aware of, you can steer yourself away from that. Or like Brittany said, write down the opposite next to it and start speaking that into your life. But let's thank Brittany tonight for being on because listen, you guys, I feel so bad, but Brittany's over here trying to set boundaries and she was having somebody else lead her own team Zoom. And then I didn't know it was her night off, but I asked her
Okay.
and she instantly, like without a doubt, just was like, yes. And she was like,
I
It was
I
supposed to
would
be
have,
my night off, but she's like, I love helping people and I love being on Zooms. And I was like,
yeah,
Brittany, I'm so sorry, but she still did
no, I would have said no if I didn't want to. So
it. Okay, good, Britt.
I'm
I'm
happy you
glad.
asked me.
Okay, good. Well, thank you so much for being on tonight. I'm so excited and wishing you to hit all your goals that you've already set for this month.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, guys. All right. I'm gonna check in 30 days. Where are you gonna be at? Okay.
She's coming
Just
at you.
kidding. I'm
All
coming
right.
at you.
Good night.
All right. Bye, guys.